This is a webinar overview for the Iowa Youth Survey 2014. We'll have two speakers today. My name is Pat McGovern. I'm from the Iowa Department of Public Health, and I'm the Iowa Youth Survey Coordinator at the state level. I will be speaking first, and I'll be turning it over about halfway through the webinar to my counterpart at the Iowa Consortium for Substance Abuse Research and Evaluation. Her name is Amy Mason, and she's the coordinator at the consortium for the Iowa Youth Survey. We're going to start off with just some general overview and some general information about the administering the survey. Like I said, I will then turn it over to Amy, and she will talk about the census system and what data we need to be collected to make sure we are generating clean and good data for each district. And then I will, at the very end, I will pull up two other handouts that will be posted the week of September 15th, or even late the afternoon, Friday, September 12th. One will be a building census form, which Amy will actually talk about, and the other will be about a 5- or 6-page document with more detailed instructions as far as what needs to be said, what the classroom proctor or teacher or administrator needs to work through. So we're giving a general overview now, and then I will show that document at the end of the webinar today. So begin, or before administering the survey, it's important that the classroom proctor knows who the Iowa Youth Survey contact person is and the IT person is or are for the district. And this is in case there are any problems or if that person has any additional questions. So if you are the Iowa district contact person, please make sure that the materials you send out includes the best way for people to get in touch with you. And again, that's just so that if they have questions, as they get to the day or the day before, they can follow up with you and make sure that things roll smoothly in your schools and in your district. The survey is strictly voluntary. Students may opt out at any time. This means they can just say, I don't want to do the survey today. They can stop partway through. They can skip questions as they see fit. It's perfectly acceptable for them to do, and it is not a problem. Parents may also opt their students out from doing the survey. This is handled well before survey administration begins, and the classroom facilitator really doesn't need to worry about that. That's more of a district contact person's responsibilities. I know I just said the students can skip any questions, but there are 3 questions that begin the survey that are actually required. And those are the county, building, and district numbers. But then once the real survey begins, once the administrative questions are out of the way, any question may be skipped. And we need those numbers so that we can track data back reports to the county level and the school district level. And we request that all facilitators follow the same procedures. This is just to keep it consistent and to make sure that we're not jeopardizing or in any other way affecting the data that are collected as part of the Iowa Youth Survey. Before students enter the room, if this is a computer lab, be sure all the computers are turned on, that you have an internet connection, and that you have the survey open from the link you will receive from us. If you're a one-to-one laptop or other iPads or other devices, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can send the link out right at the beginning of that class period when the survey is going to be administered, or if it's multiple classes with multiple proctors, that link could be sent to the entire 8th grade group all at the same time. That really depends on how your technology systems are set up and when you call the students. If you are in a situation like that and you would like to talk through your options, please feel free to contact me and we can work those things out and troubleshoot as best we can. My contact information will be on the very last slide. is the best way to get hold of me. Again, before the students enter the classroom or the computer room, be sure to have the following information written on the board. The county number or numbers, and this would be any county where a student from your district may live. Most will come from one county, but you may have some students that cross the county line. So make sure that you have the county name and numbers written on the board so that the students know which one to enter when they get to that question on the survey. In addition, have the district number and the building number. And these are numbers that are assigned or used by the Department of Education, and they are available on the Department of Education website. But the best way to get them is to probably contact your administrative office. These numbers are what they use when they report it to the Department of Education. As the students enter the room and enter their responses to the county number, district number, and building number, you can make sure that the students did, in fact, enter the numbers correctly. This is the only time during the survey that the classroom facilitator should be walking around the room looking at responses or anything like that. The other option is you can have the students read aloud what they wrote as a class. Again, this just depends on the group of students you're working with, how large, and if they're from multiple counties, that might be a little bit more difficult, but whichever option works best for you. And the reason this is so important is that we use these numbers to generate our reports. And so if all students in your district enter an incorrect district number, we won't have a district report for you, or we might, after a lot more work and difficulty trying to piece together what happened there. So please, it really is very important. County number, district number, and building number are entered accurately. During survey completion, do not walk around the room, but do monitor students to make sure they're doing their own work and that they're not looking at each other's screens or anything like that. At some point during the survey or immediately after, fill out the student count on the building census form. And this is simply recording the number of students that completed the survey on that day. If you notice any students appeared upset or were distressed during survey completion, you can talk to them, you can check in with them, but also let your school counselor or other support staff know that you may have experienced some discomfort and should be checked in on just to make sure that they are okay. If a student needs to quit the survey before finishing, have him or her close the browser window. The survey saves as you navigate from page to page, so the data collected and recorded, and that's just the cleanest way to get them out of the survey. That could be if they get called out because they have a doctor's appointment, if they become ill, or if they just want to stop the survey entirely, or if they run out of time. As students complete the survey, have them close out of the survey. Please thank them for participating. This is very valuable information that's used at the state level, hopefully at the district level, but also at county level and AA level and things like that. So we do collect a lot of very useful and informative data, and just, again, thank them for participating. And then depending on how your school or your room is set up, check all the computers. Make sure that they're either back at the start page if there's another group of students coming in during the next class period, or back to the default home page for the computer, or shut off, whatever needs to happen for your build. If there are any problems during the administration of the survey, note said problems. It could be with the computers, with your internet connection, or anything like that. Note that on the building census form. And if it was a handful of computers, not all of them, try to note how many, the date, and the approximate time. And this then helps us when it's time to clean the data and look to make sure the numbers are matching up, identify what happened, and if there are any data cleaning things that we need to do. So the building census form then is submitted with the student count to your district contact person, who then incorporates it with all the other building forms from across the district and enters it into an online district census form. And then Amy is going to give much more information about this process later on during this webinar. So some ways to avoid problems. First and foremost is make sure students who should not take the survey do not. And that's if their parents are saying opting their youth or their students, their children, excuse me, out of the survey process. Or if the student has said, I don't want to take the survey. It's vitally important to make sure they do not take the survey. And this next point alludes to that. Provide a reliable way to track students who are opted out of the survey. So when that form comes in from the parent to the district office saying, I don't want my son or daughter to complete the survey, figure out a process to make sure that that then gets to the classroom facilitator to make sure that that student doesn't complete the survey. You conduct the survey during the IOE survey timeframe, which this iteration is September 29th through October 31st. Allow adequate time, and we request at least a minimum of 2 weeks for the parent letters to be distributed and giving the parents enough time to return them and opt their student out. Active consent is only direct assistance. So the process we're using is passive consent. And by that I mean the letters go, and if the parent doesn't return it, their youth have the ability to participate. Active consent is the opposite of that. So the parent letter is needed for their youth to actually complete the survey. And when we say when students will need direct assistance, if the questions are going to need to be read aloud, or we'll need someone to help, with utilizing the computer or anything like that, then we strongly encourage the folks to get active consent. Some additional tips to avoid problems. Reading the survey aloud. That is an option. We recommend that you do that as a separate group. So if you have 2 students in a classroom of 25 that need the survey to be read aloud, perhaps they can be linked together with other students and have just reading. If not everyone finishes during the allotted time, that's okay. Have them close the browser window, and if you can, make a count of the number of students who weren't able to finish and include that on the building census form. Do not rely on battery power for laptops, iPads, or other devices. We encourage you to plug those in and make sure we don't lose any data. And you need a internet connection for the survey to work. Some lessons we've learned from previous surveys. In the past, some districts did not allow enough time to get those parent letters out and then enough time for the parents to submit them back. So please give the parents at least 2 weeks for that process. Identifying the appropriate IOE survey coordinator is important. That person can be changed. So if you're a superintendent and you need a guidance counselor to really be that role, please let me know and we can work together to get that updated. And here we have a printed copy of survey should be in all buildings. That works, or because it weren't automatically available on the IOE survey website, if you put that on your district site or anything like that, that also suffices. And please, we can't stress enough, make sure the county, district, and building numbers are entered correctly. The census data are very important when it comes to cleaning the data, to make sure they are filled out. and that they're correct and that they're submitted on a timely basis. Navigating through the survey, use the next page and previous page. Do not use the back button. And finally, this is a really important one. Do not share your school district URL with other districts. Each district has their own. That makes it much easier for us to generate the district-specific reports. And if those URLs are shared, you may not be getting just your data back. So don't post the URL on your website. Don't email it to colleagues in the neighboring districts or anything like that. And I'm going to turn to talk about the census system.
Thanks, Pat. So we're going to talk a little bit about the census forms. Building the census forms has to be submitted within 2 days of completion to district contact person. So the form is online as well to be completed by that contact person. If you're the same person who's completed the registry, it'll look very similar as far as the logins and selecting, and we'll look at that in the previous slides as well. There'll also be blank building census forms will be available on the Iowa Youth Survey website. So there's a couple of ways that you can get the information into us. So the form, this is going to kind of cover what's going to be on the form, either whatever version that you're going to be completing, and then you'll need your building name and your building code, that primary contact person for your building, the dates the surveys are completed, and we know with some schools or some districts that there'll be some multiple dates. So it's okay to enter in a couple dates here. We just use this as one more way to cross-check to make sure we're looking at all the right data. And then we'll also need your IP addresses used for the survey. Talk to your IT contact person on how to obtain that. If you're not sure, you can go ahead and email me, and we can kind of figure that out as well. You'll go ahead and provide the number of students completing the survey online, and it will be delineated by grade. And any comments about or issues or things with the survey completion problems, we like to collect that information just so that we can problem solve in the future as well. So. And this is kind of when you log into the system. This will be that initial page. It looks very similar to when registering to participate with to do the 2014 Iowa Youth Survey. So you'll go ahead and select from the 3 drop-down lists, whether you're a public or private school, the county that you are in, and the name of your district. And if you don't remember your password, which would be very similar to your registration, go ahead and you can go ahead and select Get New Password, and it will go ahead and provide you, it will take you to another page where the password will be sent to an email, but it will be the email address that has already, and it provides you that email address. I just lost the screen here, hang on. So if you are not that contact person, you can go ahead and give us a call, because we know sometimes there's other people who are doing the process of going in and entering in the information versus those who are the contact people. So you can go ahead and email me directly, and my information will be at the end of this webinar. Or you can see who the email contact is, and hopefully they can forward you that email information if it's not you. And then you'll go ahead and click Next, and it will take you to, this is your contact information, and everything on this page that has kind of a box you are able to edit. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You can kind of see where the names, email addresses, and phone numbers are, and you can also modify the password. You just go ahead and you click in the box. You can delete out what's in there, and you can enter in any type of password that's easier for you to remember. You'll go ahead and also, I don't think we have it on this page, but you'll start to enter in some of that in here as far as when the dates are administered, some of those questions that we just went over on the previous page. So it should look very similar to this. If you did the registration, you just kind of go through each box and check to make sure that it's lining up with this is your district and these are the names and the contacts. And here is the specific information that we'll be asking, and we reviewed this earlier, but this is kind of in the online format. We're going to look again for the dates that your survey was administered, and there's the format for it. 2-digit month, day, and year, and then you just use a comma if you have multiple dates for administering. We'll go ahead, and also you'll want to provide the IP addresses. And if you need assistance with how to find those, or you'd be contacting your IT person with your district. And then that third box down, does your district whole grade share, and if so, with which district? So this is just providing some additional information. I know schools do it differently, so we just need to make sure who's doing whole grade sharing and who's not. And that last box is really just for any comments, any things that have come up that were problems, that issues that we can use for next year to make it an easier and smoother process for you. Down here at the bottom, we'll do by school participation and enrollment counts. So you will see the district name and your school name in there. And so you'll just want to verify that you're in the right place, and you'll go ahead and you'll put in the numbers that you have recorded for those who participated in the survey for the 6th, 8th, and 11th. You'll just plug those right into the boxes, and then you'll also put in your enrollment number in the following boxes. And then you just save and exit out. And that's the online form. The building census form has to be completed. It must be completed for each building. And once that district contact person receives all the building census forms, he or she can tally all the data and submit it online as a district form. So each building will kind of have one person that collects that, not necessarily all going online, one person with information together. The online census form accessing, so it's similar to the registration form. It's the same password. If you do not recall your password, you can go ahead and click that link that says get new password, and it will verify where the password was sent to. You'll get to be able to see that email address. Buildings and grades available based on school year 2013 to 2014 information. And if there's any changes, go ahead and let me know as soon as possible. We know that sometimes schools merge, have different names that have happened actually over the summer, so we're just making sure that we get that set ahead of time so that we can make sure that it runs smoothly and the data gets to where it needs to go. Each district non-public school completes the census form and must use their own SurveyMonkey link, and Pat referenced this before. Each district or each non-public school will be provided a link that is specifically created just for them, and it is not to be shared. It is your link for where we're collecting the data and using for our reports, so we want to make sure that it's only or your non-public school. And once the census system is live, a link will be posted on the IYS website so that you can click on that and go ahead and post that information, as well as print off any paper forms. Okay. So just kind of review the contact information. Like I said, if you encounter any problems with the census forms or need additional clarification, please feel free to contact me. There's my email address as well as my direct office number.
This slide also contains my contact information. And then at the bottom is the IUP survey website. Please note that if you just go to iupsurvey.gov, you will get a much different site, but you do need to do the iupsurvey.iowa.gov. And this is a site where we post announcements and links and things like that. I'm going to get us out of the slideshow here and pull up the two other documents I mentioned at the beginning here. Here's a view of the building census form. And here's a view of the facilitator handouts. These documents will both be posted on the iYouth Survey website, either the afternoon of Friday, September 12th, or early the week of September 15th. Thank you, Amy, for helping out today with the PowerPoint presentation and this webinar. Do you have any last messages you'd like to share?
No, we just thank everybody in advance for participating, and like I said, we really appreciate the time that you put into this. We think this is really useful data, and any specific questions regarding the form or how the link and those things work, even after reading the forms, if you have questions, please feel free to email or call me.
And the same goes for me. Thank you, everyone.